There were times after my son first came home with the trach tube that I felt as if my own breathing was synchronized with his. I'd wake up holding my breath, listening. If he cried, it was a barely audible snuffling of mucus, gurgling or sputtering out of the plastic hole at the base of his throat. If he was asleep, kicking his legs and moving his arms, I knew he needed me to help him, even though he hated the suctioning as much as I did. Sometimes I would have to remind people that even though James couldn't talk, he could still hear. He wasn't deaf, he was mute. I could see his frustration when people treated him like he was retarded. When he learned sign language, his gestures became poetry. When a friend saw one of his paintings on the wall and asked to use it for the cover of a poetry anthology, I told her she would have to ask him, not me. But in school, they didn't know where he fit in or how to label him, even after the trach was removed and the scar had healed. First, he was learning disabled because of delayed audio processing. Then he was behavior disordered, acting out for attention. One teacher recommended speech therapy. Another suggested Ritalin for hyperactivity. His next teacher nominated him as Student of the Month. By the time he was in 6th grade, he'd attended 6 different schools, but had no lasting friendships. We used to walk to windows of the sea to watch the sunset, or I would point out the pink house that Huxley lived in when he wrote Island. Later, when he was in his 20s, I wondered if the words hold and fast, tattooed on the fingers of my son's hands, were because of memories he may have had from those early years of his life, unmoored, unattached to any schools of thought except visual expression and theatrical image. When he was accepted into the High School of Visual and Performing Arts, it seemed as if he would finally find his place. His talents would be appreciated. His self-esteem would soar. Instead, he reported the inner-city gangbangers who had stolen 2 different bicycles of his. While waiting to take them to court, he was beaten, his locker was egged, and more threats followed. James's graduation from high school was as miraculous as his surviving laryngeal papillomatosis by the time he was 5. Then he began a more perilous journey on his own. I admit I wasn't always enthusiastic about his artwork over the years. Jewelry for piercings, a mobile sculpture of dried hanging bats, a growing gallery of tattoo flash. This last Thanksgiving, when James and my granddaughter, Sasha Bella Lyric, came to visit, we were happy to count our blessings. She is a beautiful gift, the spitting image of her father, alert and singing to everything. Waking up to her cry in the middle of the night, I heard my son rustling to fix her a bottle. I fell back to sleep, taking deep breaths, realizing this is something I never dared to dream for either of us.